Hi, this is Vicki Romaine with Cheerful Greetings, and today we're going to put a little color on the front of a greeting card. I'm getting out my anti-static pouch, and I'm going to rub it over the entire piece of cardstock. This piece will be on the front of my card, where my focal point is. Now that is done, we'll get out a stamp and put the image on my cardstock. This is the same stamp I used for my other two videos on using clear embossing powder. And this is a very old stamp, and it's losing its ability to stay intact with the acrylic block. So I'm putting a little piece of double-sided tape on here, and then I'm sticking the stamp to the double-sided tape. And this should hold my stamp in place while I do my stamping. This looks good, and I think it's going to hold. So we'll try and see what happens. I'm pushing firmly but evenly in my ink pad so that the ink will cover the stamp evenly, as I want a good coverage of the Versamark. You can't really tell that I have stamped the cardstock, but as soon as I put the clear embossing powder, you should be able to tell. I'm covering the image by shaking the embossing powder all over where I had stamped. And I'm knocking the extra embossing powder into a piece of copy paper, which I folded in half to make a little trench. And then I'm pouring the embossing powder back into the jar. The little trench makes it easier to get the embossing powder back in the jar without spilling it. Next, I melt the embossing powder by quickly using my heat gun over the cardstock. In order to prevent my cardstock jamming up the laminator, I always put it inside of a carrier. And a carrier could be either another piece of copy paper or a file folder. And in this case, I'll be using another piece of copy paper, not the one that had the embossing powder on it. I've cut me off a piece of foil, which I'll be using on top of my image. And I've cut it down to size, and I will be placing it on top of the image itself. If you look closely at the foil, you will see that it's in stripes. And so I'm not having the colors go up and down or across. I'm having them at an angle. Now that my cardstock is inside my carrier, I'm putting the carrier in the laminating machine. And while it runs, I will tell you ahead of time that I'm afraid I am missing part of my video. I do not have the part where I take it out of the laminator and open it up. I accidentally had the recorder off, and I had already put my card together when I realized what had happened. So what you will see is, as it comes out of the laminator, the card is already finished. So I apologize for losing these couple of steps. The part that am missing is actually how I put the layers together, which was very simple. I just put one layer on top of the other. Each layer was a fourth of an inch smaller on both sides than the previous. I hope you enjoyed my tutorial on using clear embossing powder. And if you did, please come back and see me. And don't forget, please subscribe. In the meantime, have a great crafting day. Bye.